Yep. Good evening, everyone. So yesterday we learned about how to deal with components. So we discussed how to create components and add components into the page. So you tried, everyone, designing of components, because if you miss any part in the hierarchy, you will fail to load the components. That means adding component at correct place, defining correct names, registering the component in app module, setting up in the index. All these are very important, right? So we discussed about one technique, how to create a component by using inline method. So actually inline means everything is present in one file. Now let's see today another technique here. That means, so adding components by using a code behind technique. By using code behind technique, how we can add component by using code behind technique. Code behind technique means in code behind technique, every component comprises of three files, actually four files, comprises of four files. One is .html, so another one is .css, another one is .ts, another one is spec.ts. HTML contains presentation, and CSS contains styles. TS contains the logic, and spec.ts contains the testing. These are all the things that it will have actually, right? Technically, these are all the files for any component. Testing we will do later. At the end we will learn. So initially we will not go into testing. So for us, three files are important: the TS, the CSS, and HTML. Let's see now how to do this. Means how to create a component by using code behind technique. Let's go to the project. In the project resources, we already created a folder called components. Now this time in components folder, yesterday we have only one file because we used inline technique, but now for every component we need three files. Then better we will maintain a separate folder. In components, I am adding a folder called login. In this login folder, we will add the files. So what are the files required for a component? So we will create here first file, login.component.ts. Another file, login.component.html. Another file, login.component.css. For every component, we will have these three. Spec file is a testing file. Later in testing, we will discuss about that. So for creating a component, we have to add separate files now. What is advantage of code behind technique is, so it allows reusability. So it allows maintainability. So it allows testability and extensibility. It is easy to extend, it is easy to maintain, it is easy to reuse and test. But what is problem is, that means it is good in all this, but issue with code behind this. So issue with code behind is having multiple files will increase the number of requests and also page load time. It will increase the number of requests and also the page load time. So unnecessarily we cannot use these kind of components. So if regular changes are required, if regular extensions are required, then we better go with code behind technique. Yesterday I already explained, if we need a stable functionality, you don't need much complex, then better you can go with inline, right? So if your component changes regularly, then better use this technique. So now here little bit change will be there now in configuration. See, in the configuration this time, so if you are using code behind, then at the net component directive, this is directive or marker, uses following attributes. It uses following attributes. What are attributes is, this time at the net component have the mandatory attribute. Yesterday we learned every component must have a selector. Selector will be like app login, that is the selector. Next, this time it is not template, it is template URL. So template means directly what to render, you write there. Template URL means if markup is present in a separate file and you want to bring it and use it, then template URL. So if you want to design markup, template. Already markup designed in a separate page that you want to use here, then it is template URL. So when you are using code behind, it is not template. Template means directly markup we are rendering. Template URL means, so here we have to define the login.component.html. That means the file that contains markup. Another next it is not styles URL. Style URLs. So styles URL is nothing but it is an array. It can have multiple style sheets, that is login.component.css. You can have another CSS like this, any, because a page can have several CSS. So you can link those CSS and define. So this is when you are designing code behind. So if you are creating inline, styles are defined there only. Markup is designed there only. But now markup comes from separate file and the styles come from separate file. So what you have to do now, let's see. So we will first design the TS file. In TS file, we are creating import. You know all the basic rules. We have to import component from Angular core. then export class login component, and it have some public, so title, some string, I said some user login. Okay, there can be so many things others, later you will learn. Initially we need a marker for this at the net component. This must have a selector, and selector is app login, and you have to mention this time template URL. Template URL defines the path. Path, it is present in the same folder. That means HTML file where it is present. If it is in the same folder, dot slash in that login dot component dot HTML. This is the file we need to define. You know how to refer the paths, dot slash dot slash, that you learned in basic web design. Now another, we need styles, style URLs. Style URLs we need to define. One is what? Dot slash login dot component dot CSS. That is the styles. What is difference between yesterday inline and today? Yesterday we designed directly markup, that is defined by using template. So we defined styles. Now we are using styles URL. So your component is expecting this markup from here. So that, let's go to HTML. It is currently empty. So we will design. Let's create a div, and I will keep this ID as container. You know styles. So here I will just keep a simple form, and we will create a simple data list, data term. So user ID, username something, data definition, input type text. Just I am designing a simple form. So, and we have another term, password. So data definition, input type is equal to password. So, and we will just keep a button. So the button as login. That's just design. So what we have to design, we need to configure that. Next, what styles you want for this? Let's go to CSS. In CSS, I am accessing container. Container is an ID selector. I will use display as flex, justify content center. So align items center, and the height of container some 400 pixel. That's what we designed. And wherever form is there, for form, I given a border. So 2 pixel solid, some gray color border. Border radius is 20 pixel, and padding as 20 pixel. That's it. This is all styles. Remember, many people come and tell that I haven't learned CSS, I don't know proper HTML. You are not eligible as an Angular developer, right? So you are not eligible as an Angular developer without any CSS, HTML proper knowledge, right? And you can't work for any real-time projects. You can't, not possible. So Angular is not teaching you CSS, right? But you can't imagine Angular developer saying that I don't know CSS, right? So CSS, Bootstrap, Angular is at a very high level building single page applications. And you say, I don't know CSS, it's like joke. It doesn't suit at all, right? Angular developers' responsibility to build effective single page applications, which needs lot of CSS, Bootstrap, third party styles, right? And you can't be an Angular developer for real world without complete knowledge of CSS, Bootstrap like things. So you need to be very strong in that. So this is styles ready. Now component is ready, but this component is not recognized by our application. So what you have to do, let's go to which file? app.module.ts. In this, where to register our components? Components are registered in declarations. So first we will import the component. So import. So which component? Login component. From our components login folder, we imported it. And here we need to register login component. It is compulsory. And after that, now here Bootstrap, it is starting with header component because yesterday we given. Now today we will start with login. And if Bootstrap is login component, in index also you have to change. In index.html, it cannot be app header. It should be app login. Whatever selector name you given, that should be there. I am compiling this project already. So localhost, so 4200, and it should get the login screen and show. This is the login. And I am going to login component. I want to use, see this TS have a title. I want to print the title in HTML page here. I will put a heading. And here I will put a binding expression. We can access the title and use it here. You may be thinking like these are separate files, how it can access the variable or a property of that file, because already they are linked in your component, you linked them. That means now you can access that and you can see it will display user login. This is a simple code behind technique. So we can add components. So inline, we can add components, code behind. Now here markup is in a separate file, styles are in separate file, and logic is in separate file. Clean separation, easy to test, easy to extend, easy to reuse. Many times people ask, can I use this markup for another component? Yes, we can use. Can we use this CSS for another component? Means one component CSS, can I use for another? You can use. You can use. So this is the technique. Now here we designed a component. Let's take this example here. What I done, I am showing here. First, add a new folder into components. So the folder name we given as login. Next, add following files into login folder. And we are adding 3 files here. So login.component.ts, login.component.html, login.component.css. Now login.component.ts, in this what code I written, I am giving here. I will copy this. This is the code. And login.component.html. In HTML, this is the code. Okay, and another login.component.css. In this is the code. These are some styles we applied there. Now after that, one more we have to do. We have to go to app.module.ts. In that declarations, we have to import login component. Many times people do mistake. They delete everything and put only this component. Don't do that. You have to keep the existing components and add this component, because those other components also used in another place. right? Add this component. One more you have to do in Bootstrap. In Bootstrap, you have to start with which one? Login component. Login component. Now, another thing you have to do last, go to index.html. In the body, we have to define app login. So this is our first example. So I am giving app module also. Every day, I don't need to give that, just components code. You can practice every day. Now, many times you may have a doubt like, do I need to change this Bootstrap every day? Yes, because currently until the concept of routing you learn, every day which component you are practicing that you keep in startup. Later when you learn routing, we can create a navigation. We can put one single page and from that user can select which one he wants. That content will come and display, right? This is one concept, right? Now you learned 2 points, how to add components by using 2 techniques, inline technique, another one code behind technique. What is difference? I hope everyone is clear. In inline technique, everything is maintained in one file. In code behind, separate. So for which type of components we use inline? For which type of components we have to use inline? If functionality is stable, it doesn't require regular extensions and changes, then better you go with inline. If component regularly changes, regular extensions are required, then better go with code behind. You can have both type of components in one project, right? So depending on situation, we create them, right? Now, in Angular, there is another technique. Another technique is adding components by using scaffolding technique. Adding components by using scaffolding technique. This is very important technique. Scaffolding is a concept introduced by a technology called Ruby. Ruby is the technology. This scaffolding concept actually introduced by Ruby. We have a technology called Ruby on Rails. It's very popular server-side frameworks and technology. Like JSP, PHP, Ruby also. What is concept of scaffolding is, now every technology is using this. Scaffolding means it makes developers designing easy. Developer will tell what he want through a command. Developer will tell what he wants, and the software will generate everything for him and give. This mechanism is called scaffolding. That means a developer tells with a command what he wants. It will generate everything and give. Complete screen, design, coding. It will give everything to you. Just you need to customize according to your requirements. This mechanism is called scaffold. That means everywhere scaffolding is there in your Java, .NET, PHP, Python, HTML, everywhere. Suppose in a Java or a .NET, some class you are adding, automatically some ready-made structure will come. Some ready-made code structure will come. That is actually called scaffolding. So adding components with scaffolding is very easy. Actually, for that you need some commands. That means Angular CLI provides commands that can scaffold and generate components required for your requirements. So Angular CLI provides commands that can scaffold and generate component required for your requirements. That is what scaffolding is. Scaffolding. How this scaffold works? Actually, scaffold is very big concept. I think this I will show you here. See, there is a file readme. You see, readme file is there. Readme is a help document. I will open this readme. This is readme. You see code scaffolding. It says that code scaffolding. That means Angular says that I support scaffolding, you can use. We are telling the developer that Angular supports scaffolding, don't waste your time. Right? Don't waste your time in adding everything manually until or unless you don't need scaffold. Because when you use scaffolding, several things will be added that may not be required for you. In that case, what we do, we prefer adding manually. If we are satisfied with what it is generating, then we will use that. That is fast. That means in real world scenario, we need to have good speed in development. We need to maintain good speed in development. Nobody cares how much hard work you've done. Everybody cares whether by the time you finish the task or not. That's it. That's the reason we should never waste time in manually doing everything. Right? We have to add easily, fastly, according to requirements. How? See, actually, the commands are like this. What you can do is, you can run the commands like this. Commands. So we have the commands. Where to run these commands? Commands in terminal. In terminal, we have to run the command. The command is ng generate component, and so component name. That's it. It will generate a component for you. But how you want to generate a component? For that, there are so many flags available. Flags means options available. For example, you see here, ng generate component, you can write in a shorthand ng gc, and you can give any name. You can give any name. This is generating a component for you. Generating a component for you. So Angular will generate a component for you. But important is, before generating, if you want to see what it is generating, because as a developer, you can't blindly generate something and affect application without knowing what it is going to do. That means if you add something into project and it is affecting so many other concepts, then it is dangerous for application. So developer blindly will not add anything until or unless he knows where it will affect, how it will affect. So that is the reason for developers, we have a flag called, we can use the flag dry run. Dry run. Dry run is nothing but, so it shows the preview of command, without really affecting executing the command. That means before you run any command, you can see the preview of command, how it is working, what it is creating, where it is updating. To know that, we can just use dry run. We can just use the dry run. So let's see. I will open the project. First point, where you want the component, you have to open that location in terminal. That means open components folder in app, right click on components folder, and reveal open in integrated terminal. That means this folder will open. So that folder will open. It will open in this terminal. So right click on components and select open in integrated terminal. That means it will open in this terminal like this. This is the location where you want to add the components. Make sure that you are in the location where the components are present, right? Yeah. Next point, here we will generate the commands. I will show you the command here. Here we will generate the command ng generate component. That is shortcut actually, nggc. And here we can write complete generate component or nggc generate component. Suppose component name as home. Component name is home. I don't want to really create this first. First I want to just see how it will work. Means what it is creating. What is the result of this command? Then we will put a flag dry run. We will put the flag dry run. So if you put the flag dry run, this command will not really execute. It will just show the preview. I hit enter now. Then it will show the preview of this command. So the preview of the command means what it is actually going to generate. You see, now it shows that it created these 4 files. What are those 4 files? Home component HTML file, home component spec file, TS file, another one CSS. One more, it is showing that it updated. Updated where? It updated in module.ts. That is great. That means it is saying that you don't need to import in a app module. I will take care about this. That means it is generating these files and it is updating into this app module. But note, the dry run option means no changes were made. That means this is all just preview. It is means home component created? No, home component is not created, just it showed you preview. Because I don't want to create, I want to just see what will happen. Later, if I satisfied with this, I will create it. Now you see in the list, you can see in components, there is no home component. There is only login. Because dry run will not create the component. Dry run is not creating the component. So we can simply use the flag dry run. Okay, now when you created component, what happened? Inline code behind, which one created? Code behind, because for every component it is adding a CSS file, TS file, HTML file. No, I want to generate a component with styles inside that file only. Then you can do another flag you can write. You can use another flag, inline styles. Inline style. We can use a flag inline style. Inline styles. Inline styles indicates that the CSS file will not be generated. That means you are telling that I will write the styles inline, don't generate a CSS file. So CSS file will not be generated. Let's see. So that means, so it generates, it will not generate CSS file. It will not generate CSS file. So let's see here. ng generate c home dry run is I will use inline styles, and again dry run also I am giving inline styles and dry run. and you can see inline styles or inline styler. Yes, I given yes extra. Okay, inline style dry run. Now when I say inline style dry run, then it will display the command result in this way. And you can see in this only 3 files generated this time. You can see only HTML file, the spec file, spec is test file. Another one TS file is generated. CSS is not there. That means how many files it is creating? Only 3. 3 files it is creating. So that means we don't want a separate style sheet. Our plan is to create inline style. Then we can use this. Suppose you don't want HTML file, then we can use inline template. Inline template. Inline template means it will not generate HTML file. It will not generate HTML file, but it will generate CSS file. If you don't want to generate CSS and HTML file, inline style, inline template, both flags you have to give. You have to define both flags. So what we have to do now, let's run this and see. I will clean up. Yeah. ng generate component home and inline style and inline template and dry run. Now you see it is going to generate. It is going to generate only 2 files then. So one is spec.ts. Only 2 files are generated. One is spec.ts, another one is component.ts. Spec.ts, component.ts. No HTML file, no CSS file. We don't want the spec file also. That means testing file also we don't want. Then we have to use skip test. We have to use skip test. That means it will not generate. It will not generate test file. It will not generate the test file. Skip test will not generate the test file. So if you want a perfect inline component, then use all these flags. We need to use all these flags. Remember, these commands are not only for generating components. You can generate contracts, means interfaces. You can generate ordinary classes. You can generate so many other things in Angular. You are just learning components. Currently our topic is components. So we are learning how to generate components, right? Now you see, let's add one more now. All these will be there. Extra we will add one more. What is it? Skip test. Skip test. And enter. And you can see this time only one file is added and one file is updated. That means only one file is added, that is home component.ts, and it is updating in app module.ts. App module.ts. So it depends on requirement how you want to do, right? So these are all the commands required. So these are the commands that we use with the options. Now let's really create. We will remove dry run, then it will create. So I will create a simple component. I don't want tests. Then let's do one thing. ng generate component. Component name is home. And here we will simply put one option only. What is it? Skip test. I am not using any dry run. That means now it will really execute. Now hit enter. Now it is going to really execute and generate the component for you. You see it's ready. Now once go to close this terminal. Now go to your project. In that you will see there is a home folder. And in this home folder, 3 files are generated. home.ts, home.html, home.css. That means these three files are generated. Let's open that files. You see TS file, automatically logic is ready. Right? But there will be so much logic which you may not need. Because see, there is a import of on init. And you see this class is implementing on init. There is an ng on init. Those you will learn later. Means what are these implements? What is these methods required for? We will discuss later. But scaffold this is. That means you tell what you want. It will generate everything for you. And see all requirements done. HTML file, see in HTML it puts just homeworks. Now you delete this and you put whatever markup you want, right? And in CSS it is obviously empty, nothing, because it doesn't know what CSS you need. There is no ready-made CSS. You need to just put that. Suppose I will put a paragraph. So we will put text align center. I will put color. So as some blue, like this we define. Now, interestingly, one more observe. HTML, I am not doing anything. Just I leave that and see TS, it is ready. Template URL, style URLs, everything is ready. Observe in app module, it is already imported. In app module, it is imported. Just only one thing you have to do, set up in startup. Set up in startup. So which component you start? Home component. Then you have to make change in which file? Index. Index. Which one? Home. App home. Usually while adding a component by using scaffolding also, it will follow the same rules that we learned. That means selector name will start with app, right? All the file names will be with the same what we mentioned. Now it's ready. Let's run this and see and refresh. Home works. That means it is showing that home works. So we learned two ways. Which one is best? That depends on situation, right? That means according to your project, your requirements. If really your component needs everything generated by scaffolding, you use it. Otherwise, you manually add it. You learned both techniques now. How do we add components? By using commands. And how we can add components manually. And all techniques with commands, without commands. These two basic things we have learned. Now, another important is, that means now we are setting up all the environment. We are learning how to make this perfect for start designing, right? So you learned how to add components now by using the commands and all. Now one more extra for making our designs good and effective is, we will install Bootstrap and we will see how to use Bootstrap in our projects, because actually in Angular, real-time Angular projects will use two types of styles actually. Generally Angular projects mostly get styles, means effects from, they use Angular material. They use Angular material, they use Bootstrap, they use third party like Telerik. We have third parties like Telerik. Some applications use Twitter Bootstrap also. Twitter Bootstrap, like that. There are so many third parties. In real world projects, Angular projects will use these all. We will learn these two. That means we will learn how to use Angular material and Bootstrap. Third, Telerik and see, because if you know Bootstrap is better than Twitter Bootstrap. And Telerik is a paid service. You have to pay and use it. Your companies will purchase them. So you can see this is Telerik. So telerik.com. Yeah, this is Telerik. This is Telerik, modern UI made easy. And this Telrik actually, this Telrik provides, this is a third party, and you see these are the customers of Telrik. NASA is customer of Telrik. That means they provide support, software support for NASA like people, Microsoft like people, right? That means these are very effective. Java, .NET, PHP, Python related software support is provided by these Telriks. Suppose you are learning Java, you are learning .NET. In that, you need to design graphs, you need to design charts, you need to design barcodes, you need to generate QR codes. For that, every technology don't have inbuilt library. We have to borrow from third parties. We have to borrow from third parties, and these are such third parties. These are third parties. So these people will provide the contents that are required for making and building the UI more effective. Angular people's main responsibility is building user interface, consuming the data, presenting the data, adding good interface. So you need to be very strong in good presentations. And 100 to 100% in every Angular interview. So in practical tests, they will give you one API. They will tell that from this API data is coming, and they will give you some screenshots, and they will say that design this by using this data and send us. Any MNC interviews also, even for experienced people, they will even give you 1-2 days time. That means they will say that we will send, you are qualified in the first round, second round is practical, then we will send you an email. In that email, you will get a API link, you will get some screenshots. These all you have to design and send us. That's what you have to do actually. That means now you should be very good in presentations, very important. And for that, we will learn two things. Initially, we will use Bootstrap because it is very primary for every web designing. After that, we will use more effective with the help of material, Angular material, so that we can build more effective than Bootstrap, right? We will see. So first step, this login screen I designed. So we designed a login screen, but I want that login more effective. That means more effective, more interactive with some effects. Then how we can do that? Let's see. So for that, what we will do now, we will see how to set up Bootstrap. Set up Bootstrap for Angular project. Why we are setting up Bootstrap for Angular project? Because every day when we are building applications, so they should reach the expectations of user interface designs. Then for that, you need good knowledge of Bootstrap, good usage of Bootstrap. How to set up Bootstrap for Angular project? So for that, first, you have to, first step, open workspace location, open workspace location in terminal. Workspace location in terminal. We have a workspace location, we have a project location, both. So you have to open workspace location in terminal. That is actually Angular projects. That is our workspace location. There you have to run the command npm install bootstrap save. Another latest version of Bootstrap they provide npm install, they provide Bootstrap icons also. Save. You need to download these two. So the latest version of Bootstrap is Bootstrap 5. It comes with icons. So in web designing, we need lot of icons. We can use different icons like Font Awesome, Bootstrap icons or anything. So usually people few years back, 1-2 years back, they mostly depend on Font Awesome. But now Bootstrap 5 provides Bootstrap icons. We can use them free, right? So you install these two now. Let's see. Let's go to project workspace location. That means project workspace location open in terminal. This is your project workspace location. That is Angular projects. This is your location. So you can simply run there. From that location, what you have to do, you have to run these two commands, npm install bootstrap and save. So here many times I already told you, be careful, don't use PowerShell. I told you command prompt. In PowerShell, commands will not run. I told you PS. PS is PowerShell. So don't run the commands in PowerShell. Run the commands in command prompt. Already in TypeScript, I told you that, right? How to change to command prompt, we already learned that, same in terminal. So download and install Bootstrap. It is installing Bootstrap. Okay, now another one, we need to install npm install bootstrap icons and save. These two we need to install. Bootstrap and bootstrap icons, they are installed, but they are not ready for your project to use. So because you kept, remember, you can install from anywhere. It will be installed in workspace. It will be installed in workspace. I just showed you the location workspace, but you install from any place in the project, it will be installed in workspace. Now bootstrap files are kept in which folder? Bootstrap files, all files are kept in node modules. They are kept in node modules. That means after you install, next step, we want to use this in our project, right? Then what you have to do, go to the project. In the project, I told you styles.css. Styles.css indicates what styles your project have to use. So here, go to styles.css. It is present in src folder. Styles.css, here you have to import the styles. We have to import the styles. So import where the styles are present. You know, if you already worked with Bootstrap, Bootstrap icons and Bootstrap file, CSS, two CSS we need. Actually, where is present Bootstrap? We have to write ... means come out of src. Currently we are in src, come out of src. Still node modules is not available, because if you come out of src, you will be in which folder? Shopping. Now again ... you will come out of shopping. Now shopping is in which folder? Projects. Again ... you will come out of projects. Then node modules is available. In node modules, you will have Bootstrap. In Bootstrap, dist css. In that bootstrap.css. This is the file we have to link. That is one file we are linking. Next, another one, import another file. ... node modules. This time bootstrap icons in that font, bootstrap icons.css. This is how we need to import. Now your project is ready to use bootstrap and bootstrap icons. So this is how we need to set up. So what you have to do, so after configuring this, second step, go to src styles.css file and import files. So these are the files we have to import. These are the two files we need to import. One is bootstrap css, another one bootstrap icons.css. Now our project is ready. So it is ready for using bootstrap. Let's do one thing now. So If Bootstrap is ready, let's see the login screen. So Bootstrap is working fine. Now let's go to the login. We will keep login in the startup now. Instead of home, I will change which page, login. And let's go to index, change this app what, login. We will change app login. Okay, now login is in the startup. So login is in the startup here, right? Now what I will do is, let's go to login dot in app components login in login dot HTML. So here I will remove this ID. I will do one thing. I will remove the CSS what I designed, clean up, because now I want to use Bootstrap and see. And see now currently this login without any styles and anything, it looks normal like this now. It looks normal like this. Now how to use Bootstrap? How do we, because already Bootstrap is working currently. Now we need to apply Bootstrap and make this effective. Simple. Bootstrap provides classes. See what I am doing, class. This is container, that container fluid, that is the class. So container fluid class will keep alignment little better. After that, what we will do, we will keep dflex. This is display flex. Justify content center. Align items center. This is horizontal and vertical center. It will keep. Vertically center to keep, we need to set height. For that, we will use a style. Style height, I will give 400 pixel. That is the height adjusted. It will be like this. Now, still so many things. Remember, these are all Bootstrap classes. Now for this form, I will put a class border 2, and so we will put here radius. So that is radius, rounded, and we have rounded 2 like this. And you can see there will be a border. And I will use P3. P3 is padding 3. Padding will be all directions for that. And now this is the login. And I will give here as a border primary. Then border primary will give this color. And see now I am adding the text box. Usually text box will have a class form control. Password also will have a class form control. Buttons usually will have a class BTN and BTN primary and W100 width 100. Then this is the login screen. And we are using Bootstrap icons also. Just beside the title, I will put a span and the class BI person fill. This is actually Bootstrap. This is Bootstrap icons class, and it will put that user login. That is the icon. Now we are using Bootstrap. So we are designing the applications. So you have to use Bootstrap. Now, how you can say that I don't know all this, I am Angular developer, right? How you will create forms, how you will create effects. So you have to design like Amazon login screen. How you will design, right? So these are all mandatory, right? So many people think Angular means Angular, right? Angular developer means Angular developer. Angular developer is a very high professional role in the current generation. That means they expect too much from you. They think that you are genius in web development. They think you should prove, right? Why? Because Angular, a person finished Angular and applying as Angular developer means they think he is very good in web development, because Angular is building high professional single page applications which are more better than traditional web applications. That means they expect too much from you, and these are all compulsory. You need to know about all these things, right? So in this class we are not learning any Bootstrap. I'm just applying the Bootstrap classes. So for that we need to set up all the environment and design. So with this we can create good designs, interfaces. Let's see one example. Means a simple concept. We will see that. Let's see, suppose I want to design. So let's copy this code for you. After you do this, now what we will do, we will make changes in this file. Which file? Login.component.html. In login component HTML, I made some changes that I will do here. I will copy. We will copy that here. This is how we have to define. This is what the changes we done in login component. And here everything we used a combination of Bootstrap classes and Bootstrap icons. Currently we are just using Bootstrap classes and icons. For example, I will show you a simple one. Now see, suppose we will take a real world example like some Netflix. Now this is Netflix page. And in this Netflix page, we want to design this registration form like screen. Right? So later I will show you how to create this entire page. We can design that. So actually Netflix is using React.js. It is designed in React.js. Netflix technology is React. Right? But it is a single page application. You can create in any single page application environment. Right? So here, how to design these kind of registration buttons, how to create these kind of things. Suppose you see Amazon. When you see Amazon, this is Amazon search bar. How to create this? These are all Bootstrap. Let's see one simple option like this search bar. So I will do one thing now. Let's add a new component. I will add a new component. Let's add a component by using command open in terminal ng generate component. So I will give Amazon. Amazon is the component name. Okay. I will give skip test. I don't want these testing files as of now. Amazon component is added. Okay. Let's go to the components. Amazon component HTML. Remember, you don't need to link anything because already you mentioned in styles. So every component can use Bootstrap. So just we are designing now. So a div class container fluid. And here, suppose I will create, just for your understanding sake here, I will keep a div. And in this, I am using a simple, so drop down, that means select. In that we have an option like all. After that I put a text box, input type is text. So after that I will put a button, right? Now see what we are doing. This Amazon we will keep in startup. Go to app module, which component? Amazon component, and index.html, which one? App Amazon, right? That is in the startup, Amazon. Okay. Now you can see the page comes with this. I will just put a heading here. So just to make you understand, this is Amazon search. Okay. You see this is Amazon search heading. Okay. Now this button needs an icon, span, class BI, and BI search. You can see that is search icon here. Now I am giving this class as form control. This is form control. And for this button, I will put a class btn warning. And you can see it will be like this. Now I need to combine these three. Then generally all these three are in a div. We will put a class called input group. Then automatically it will combine these. And I want to combine this drop down. Then usually for that we will put a class called input group text. Then automatically it will display like this. Now this is Amazon search bar. Right? You need to design this. And we cannot waste time in writing styles. Right? We cannot waste time in writing styles for this. We have to implement all this. Right? For example, now, suppose let's see another heading. This is Netflix register. And I want to create a Netflix register. Same concept they also use here. I'm using a div. And here I will put, so another div. Okay, just I will put here class as bg dark and padding 4. And in this we have input type is equal to email. And it will have a class called form control. And beside that we have a button. So we will put get started. And here we say your email address placeholder. So your email address. Okay. That is your email address. And here we put a span. So class BI chevron right. This is the symbol. And you see this is the Netflix. And here what we are doing. So for this class input group LG is large. For this button we will put a class btn danger. And you can see it looks like this now. That is Netflix register. That is how Netflix register component is. Right? This is Netflix register. This is Amazon search bars. Right? These are all bootstrap. Now we will see how to combine these components and design an effective template page, complete page design. That means we will take one sample template and we will try to design that. How to use multiple components and use. How do we use multiple components? That means we will do one thing. For example, we will take any website sample. So better what we will do is we will try Netflix only. That means we will try to design this screen. Or you can take any template. Suppose getbootstrap.com. We will take a template. In this website you can see themes. In the themes you will find a lot of website themes are present, designs. We will take any website design theme and we will try to create this theme. That means we will see the live preview. We will try to create this design. We will try to create this design and we can later make it functional. Later we can make it functional. That means work, home click, catalog click, the details will come. That means we will take this shopping template and we will try to design this. Right? With images, with content, with presentation. We will try to design this through our Angular. That we will start in next session. Right? So up to this first you practice. Then in the next session we will learn how to handle multiple components. Currently we are handling only one. Header, footer, sections, how to design multiple components and create a page. That we will see in the next session. Monday we will continue with that. Okay? Right.